Welcome to the Green Table Talk. I am your host, Janine Johnson.
So I got diagnosed at 14. I was diagnosed with polycystic kidney disease, and yeah, I started dialysis within just a few short months. Some people don't realize that when you have a transplant, that means no more dialysis. And some people think that, oh, you mean you're not on dialysis anymore? No, I had a transplant. In a perspective kind of way, we don't want to do it, but we have to do it. Another analogy I use for patients is it's like going to the gym. We have to go at least 3 times a week, especially with dialysis, that we don't want to do it, but we know we have to. When we get there, we feel a bit better that we're there at least.
Welcome to the Green Table Talk. I am your host, Janine Johnson. Today we are sitting with my friend Sadia. Sadia, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I'm glad you are here to share your journey, share your story. So you are currently experiencing kidney failure, correct?
Yeah.
So what I wanted to do was first dive into who Sadia is. I wanted to give the audience a little background about you, what you like doing, and hobbies or anything of that sort, and then we'll just jump into your journey. So let us know who you are.
Great. So thank you first and foremost for having me here. I greatly appreciate it. Yeah, who am I? That's actually a really good question. I ask myself that sometimes too. Yeah, no. I am someone who wears their heart on their sleeve, first and foremost. I try to help and support as many people as I possibly can, just because of the nature of what myself and others have gone through. And yeah, and so I think that's the main thing about me, that when you first meet me, I am an open book. So I talk about everything under the sun. I don't try to hide things because I don't feel like that's genuine. But I'm not mean to people. I don't think I am. Unless you did me dirty, then that's different. But other than that, I try to be nice to everyone, because in this world, there's so many crappy things going on that it doesn't take much to be a nice person, or to smile to someone, or to even pay a compliment. And so I'm huge on that. And I'm the type of person that if you have something stuck in your teeth, I will tell you, even if I've never met you. Only because, again, that's part of being human and who you are as a person. And yeah, so for me, as hobbies include, I love to do art. I'm a huge art person, in terms of creating my own designs. So fun fact, I created this t-shirt for those who can see. And it says love in Urdu, and then it actually says love at the bottom. But it's all hand design. And I created t-shirts back when I was in university, just because I wanted to do something creative and have a creative outlet. It didn't go very far, not even to the printers. I just created some prototypes later on and just gave them to my nephews, in a morbid kind of way, as if like something happened to me, they'd have me in their memories. I know that sounds really, really morbid, but like it was a legacy thing for them to remember me. Because again, when you live with kidney disease, or we live with any chronic illness, you never know what's going to happen to you in life. Yeah, so I draw on walls, I do henna designs, I do art commissions for people. And it's just for fun. I don't really sometimes I don't even take money for it, because like, why? Like, I'm doing a fundraiser and next weekend, and it's to support, I won't say what, but it's to support initiative. And so but I'm doing it for free because it's for a good cause, and it's just a few hours of my time, and why not, right? But like, that's my point in terms of like helping people and giving back when you need to. Because I think at one point it does pay forward. I don't know how and what way, but I'm always trying to grab brownie points where I can. Not to say I'm a bad person in any way, but you never know in life. And yeah, so that's one main thing about me, is like, I love to draw, I love to do designs. And that's my main hobby besides eating. So I love food.
You're a person after my own heart. I am the same way. I truly believe that when you do something, you have to pay it forward, and it does come back, and it doesn't always fall upon you. Like those blessings or the goodness that you've done for others doesn't necessarily have to come upon you. It could come on your nephew, it could fall upon your parents, it could fall upon, you know what I mean? So you don't always see it, but it happens. Hence why we should continue to do good. And like you said, a simple smile. just to someone on the street, just passing by. So many times I've walked by someone or I see a woman and her hair looks nice or she's wearing this nice outfit. I'll say, "Ooh, I love that. You look good."
Yeah.
You know what I
Yep.
mean? It's, oh, thank you. You just lifted her spirits. What did it take? All of like 3 seconds. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And
And
then,
people, yeah, and people act weird that you compliment another female. I'm like, but why wouldn't I if I think they're
exactly.
gorgeous or if I think their outfit's pretty? Like, it's not a
Mhm.
negative thing. It doesn't mean anything that you're thinking. It
No.
just, I want to play a compliment. And so
Yes.
why wouldn't I? And you know
I
what?
agree. I
I'll tell
agree.
you why I always do this. There's a reason why I started doing this, if I could tell you.
Okay.
So when I was, I think 14,
Mm.
when I was in my years of being a patient, I was heading on the bus and subway from Mississauga to Toronto to go for dialysis. And I remember getting up, and as I stood up, these high school girls, and I was in high school, they're laughing at me, like literally looking at me and laughing. And I turned around, and I'm like, okay, that's weird. And I just ignored it
Mhm.
because, like, some people are just mean. And so when
Yeah.
I got to the hospital and I went to the bathroom, this might be TMI for some people listening, but I realized I got my period and I had a nice stain on my ass. And
Oh,
so because of that, they were laughing at me instead of coming to me and saying, hey,
yeah.
or some, no one said anything to me the whole walk from the subway to the sick kids. Not even a nurse, not even a doctor in the hospital said anything to me. Mind you, I don't know if I had a long jacket on or not, that it was covered. I don't think I did actually. Um, it was just really mean. And so then
Mhm.
since then, I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna be an ass. I'm not gonna be a mean person. Sorry if I'm not supposed to swear on here.
No, it's okay.
Um, but I'm gonna be nice to people because like I would not want that to happen to someone else if I could prevent it.
Hmm.
Right. So that's
Yeah.
honestly where all that stemmed from. So at a ripe age of 14, I was trying to be a
Yeah.
person because why not? Right.
You
So
took a negative and turned it into a positive. That's
I
what you
tried.
did. Yes, they were
Yeah.
mean, and that was very unfortunate. Nobody said anything, but you took a negative and turned it into a positive, which is amazing. That's good because not everybody does that, right?
Yeah.
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 So now let's talk about your journey. Not necessarily the most positive topic, but you're taking this negative and you're turning it into a positive, right? So let's talk about your journey. How were you diagnosed with kidney failure? How old were you when this whole journey started for you?
Yeah. I think I turned our whole journey into from a negative to a positive, to be honest, with everything I do currently.
Mhm.
But so I got diagnosed at 14. I was still in school, so I think it was like October, November, something like that. Beginning of the year, I got diagnosed. No one in my family has kidney failure, kidney disease, nothing like that. So I was the first and hopefully the only lucky duck in the family to have this, and currently I am. And I was diagnosed with polycystic kidney disease. And yeah, I started dialysis within just a few short months. I remember we just went for blood work, and my mom got really scared because my family doctor called us in and found out that, oh, it's because her kidneys are failing. So we got a referral to a nephrologist right away. And then at Sick Kids, yeah, they diagnosed me. And then within a few months, and even starting dialysis within a few months, I remember my first dialysis treatment, I still remember it because it was my first, was it went by I think I did 4 hours and it went by in like 2 minutes because I was so zoned out. And I remember sitting there watching Rosie O'Donnell, that will age me now, and all of a sudden it was done. And her what show was an hour less than, and it just went by just like that because I didn't take into consideration what was happening. I didn't even like, I don't think I still even
Mhm.
after accepted what was going on, to really like gauge like, hey, this is actually happening to me. Because when
Mhm.
you're a kid, you just go with the flow. You don't really
Yeah.
ask questions. Like I never asked why me. I think I
Mhm.
did that later on in life. Especially after losing my first transplant. I did it then, but I didn't do
Mhm.
it right when being diagnosed. So I was on dialysis for about a year and a half. And then they called me for my first kidney transplant. They called me the night before with the living with the deceased donor.
Okay.
And at Sick Kids, the donor list is totally separate from the adults. So we have
Mhm.
a totally separate one. So kids usually get it faster. Mine took a year and a half, mainly because my blood type B positive. So B positive is one of the most rare ones.
Yes.
And there's not that many South Asians that are on the deceased list.
Mhm.
Sorry, who haven't signed their organ donor card. So we're very rare and whatnot, or even anyone with B positive. So that took some time, but I got it, no problem. It worked well. And then it lasted about 3 years. In the last years when the hiccups kind of started and when I was going through multiple rejections. We still don't know really why. Like I always faulted myself, but then I spoke to some nephrologists and they never said it was my fault. Like I took my meds on time. I took all my meds.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe one or two I didn't take exactly on time, but like I never missed any. And
Mm-hmm.
I drank my water. Like I was a like a thirsty person
Yeah.
when I was
Now,
little.
quick
But
question
so
before you continue, though.
yeah.
What was your rejection like? How do you know you were being this kidney was being rejected? Is it like rejected and then that's it? It's done, or like explain the rejection process. Like what happens there?
Yeah, so with rejection, if unless you, so there are symptoms if you do have symptoms. So symptoms are fever, and then some patients have chills, some patients have swelling as well, and the kidney area where the transplant is sometimes really hot. So those are some indications, but then the technical ones, which is through blood work, is that your levels jump up. So your creatinine, your hemoglobin, your creatinine, your EGFR drop, your creatinine goes up. And some of your other levels are wonky. So that's how I always found out from blood work. I never actually had physical symptoms when I was little. I
Okay.
just actually, I don't think I ever had physical symptoms growing up. I had the symptoms after the fact, like the fever and stuff like that, but I didn't have it during
Okay.
the very initial stages. And so um, I remember missing, I guess is a high school kid's favorite. I missed like tons of exams and I didn't have to retake them. But I graduated everything, and then that transplant officially failed in my first year of university. And it failed in my first year of Frosh Week. So that was kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
And it didn't really make any friends. And I never
Did
got
your
to
friends knew what
enjoy.
was? Did their friends knew what was going on? Like they understood? Like
So
close friends that you did have, did they understand what was going on, or did you explain to them?
they did, and it's more so because like they didn't understand rejection. I don't think anyone understands rejection. People still think that when you're rejecting, so when your kidney's rejecting, that doesn't necessarily mean you're on dialysis right away. You just have to wait until you have to, or some patients don't. They bounce back. And then some people don't realize that when you have a transplant, that means no more dialysis. And some
Yes.
people think that, oh, you mean you're not on dialysis anymore? It's like,
Hmm.
no, I had a transplant. So
Yeah.
a lot of education needs to be put out. And I know my
Yeah.
family and friends were completely confused and wondering what's going on. And oh, you didn't have it for that long? Oh, I thought it lasts forever, or blah, 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 blah. And it's
Yeah.
like, no, it's not a cure. It's just another treatment option, just like dialysis is.
Hmm.
So none of my friends went to my university in high school, so I didn't really stay in touch with them. It was just like Facebook friends. Even
Gotcha.
now, they're just Facebook friends. I don't have any friends from high school anymore because
Hmm.
everyone actually disbanded completely. Nobody that I know went to Ryerson,
Gotcha.
not known as Ryerson anymore,
Yeah.
Metropolitan or something weird like
Yeah.
that. And I was the only one from my university at my degree as well. So yeah, so no, they didn't know. They didn't understand. Family didn't really understand either. I had families like
Hmm.
tell me the same thing. And
Hmm.
even during one of my transplants, family was like, oh, you should pray harder. Oh, you should drink more water, like those things. And I'm like, unless you really understand what this is and what I've been going through, what I've been doing, please don't ask those questions. Like it's
Hmm.
actually quite not nice.
Yeah. Of
Um,
course.
yeah, so that one failed, and then I was on dialysis at one of the hospitals for 10 years, 10 years straight. And yeah, they accommodated me really well with school and with being on dialysis, with my
Now you
shifts, and
said
if
10,
I
you said 10 years straight. What type of was it in hospital that you were doing dialysis for 10 years straight?
yes, in center hemodialysis. So
Okay.
three times a week for
Hmm.
roughly 4 hours I would go.
Okay.
And yeah, so I'd go for dialysis and then go for classes or go for classes, then go for dialysis. It would be
Hmm.
different every week because again, they were accommodating me. And I also at the same time volunteered for one of the organizations downtown. And then I was also like even on dialysis, I'd ride, they have an exercise bike. I'd be riding the bike for 4 hours. Like I had energy. Like, dude, I had energy growing up. But yeah, again, I don't think I thought twice about being on dialysis even then in university and stuff.
Hmm.
And I never questioned again, why me? I never did any of
Yeah.
that stuff. I don't know, like, and I guess not everyone does, but I didn't at that point.
Hmm.
I just figured, and I wasn't upset or stressed I was on dialysis for 10 years. I know other
Hmm.
people were upset for me, like, oh, how could this be? And I'm like, I don't know. And I didn't know anything about
Yeah.
antibodies at the time either. No one explained that to me. So until I had my second transplant back in 2013, um, did I really understand what antibodies meant? And so what happened with that is I had my second transplant in 2013. And when they called me for that, they called me at 2 o'clock in the morning. And
Wow.
instead of them calling me on my cell phone, they called me on the house phone. So my mom like freaked out thinking it was like back home or something. And I knew
Mhm.
it was not. I knew right away it was the hospital. I just had that spidey sense
That
tingling.
gut feeling.
Yeah, and so they called me and then they told me, okay, come in between between 2 to 4 hours. And
Hmm.
so, went, showered, got myself my to-go bag, got everything ready. And because I already went through it first time, I kind of knew what I needed in the hospital and whatnot, and being admitted so often. So I went in through the emerge, got there at like 4 o'clock in the morning and went into the emerge. And when I was waiting there for an ultrasound, or for an x-ray, because that's one of the first things you have to do when you get there. Sorry, just my throat dry.
No, it's okay.
Um, so there's another patient there, another guy, and I just assumed he was kidney. So I started talking to him. He's like, yeah, I'm here too. I'm like, oh my gosh. And so we both knew we were going to get one and the other, the sister kidneys or brother kidneys, however you want to say it. Um, and his wife was there too. So it was really nice, like meeting them and stuff like that. And we also connected when we got to the floor, to the inpatient floor. And we actually exchanged numbers as well because we figured we're getting it the same day. We should like stay in contact from the same individual that had passed away. So let's,
Hmm.
connect. And so that was really cool. Everything went well with the transplant. It took about between 4 to 6 hours the normal time for them
Hmm.
to give me the kidney.
Do you still keep in
Um,
contact with him?
no, I think he passed away.
Oh no.
Yeah, due to other complications.
Oh,
So when,
I didn't hear that.
sorry?
I'm sorry to hear that after everything that you
Yeah,
guys went through. Hmm.
yeah, because I know at one point, so leading into the transplant, I think he got discharged later than I did. I think he had other health conditions as well, health
Hmm.
comorbidities and diabetes and other things like that. That was manageable, but I think it got too much for him.
Wow.
So for me, my first rejection was 6 days after the transplant. So when the night before I was supposed to go home, again, I had the symptoms. So I actually had a fever. And that's when they found out, okay, we're going to do blood work. And then they found out from the blood work as well. That was confirmation that I was going through my first rejection. So
Hmm.
6 days into the hospital turned into 2 weeks,
Wow.
being admitted. Um, and yeah, he was also rejected at the same time. And he ended up getting, I even forgot his name. That's how bad it is. It's been so long.
Hmm.
Um, I remember his face and his wife, like beautiful
Hmm.
couple, but I can't recall the name. Um,
What's the
so
emotional
he,
side? Like you're talking about rejection, and I'm like, what goes through your mind? What's the emotional side of losing a kidney? You're all excited and you get the call, and 6 days after the fact, like that, to me, that's like that would just crush me. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
you just got it. You're thinking, okay, you have all this stuff planned, and and then 6 days afterwards, tell me about the emotional side. Like, how did that affect you?
yeah. I think the only time I actually cried was so at the time I wasn't working. And
Hmm.
so I was on ODSP. And I remember the social worker at the hospital came and was like, all cheery and up and beat and said, okay, it's time to get you off ODSP. And I look at her and I'm
Hmm.
like, excuse me, do you not know what I'm going through right now? And she's
Yeah.
like, no. And I'm like, I'm going through rejection, which means this kidney isn't going to last forever, which
Hmm.
means heck to the no, am I getting off? Are you kidding me? Like, I'll go on hold, but I
Yeah.
won't get off completely because, like, are you kidding me? It's
You
easy
need,
to get
yeah.
off than to get on, and I need the support that I need. Like,
Hmm.
I'm like, no.
Yeah.
And I literally told her to get out of my room and not to come back because I was like, you're
Hmm.
so like, didn't you look at my chart and you know who I was? Didn't even get to know me and was just like, okay, let's get you off. And I'm like,
You consider it.
yeah. And like, that's one of the reasons why I'm a social worker because like, I get it when patients are scared and confused and worried and, feel hopeless because like I
Hmm.
was there at that point. And like losing a kidney, people don't get it. Like if you've
Yeah.
never had to lose it, thank God that you haven't. But if you have, it's very numbing experience. And I know I said this in another perspective, but like you I still haven't acknowledged that what I've been through is what I've gone through because
Mm.
I put things under the rug a lot and I just go with the flow, but then I don't address a lot of stuff that I've gone through because for me, if I did, I would just be bawling my eyes out. And that's not the
Hmm.
type of person that I want to be or am.
Yeah.
So I try to be strong because I'm like the main support system in my family. So if I'm breaking down, what's that going to do to my family?
Yeah.
So, and like I always tell my mom ever since like we were at the kids that if I'm smiling, you should be smiling. You should not be crying. You should not be like sad, having that mom look on your face. I know you have it because you're my mom,
Hmm.
but you have to replicate me. I'm the patient. I'm the one who's going through this, not you. You're not the
100%.
victim, right?
Hmm.
So even to this day, I still have to tell her that, even though I don't tell her anything about my health nowadays, only if I have to. Otherwise, if I'm just going in to get my, fistula, which is my access for dialysis, revived or declotted, I won't tell her because
Mm.
that's unnecessary stress for me, and I'm not dealing with that.
Yeah.
Right. And I guess she's worried, don't get me wrong,
Of
but it's
course.
better for me to take care of her than for her to take care of me. Because at that point, that's not going to happen. I need to be the bigger person to take care of her. And I say that with full love and respect.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm glad you've explained that to me because I've never actually spoken to someone that's gone through any type of rejection.
Well,
Never
that's
spoken to.
me. That's
And
me though,
no, of
right?
course, but I'm glad to get your perspective on this.
Yeah.
Like, of course, not everybody's going to feel the same way, but
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad you've expressed that, especially since, like you said, you kind of sweep things under the rug, and so I'm glad you're actually saying this. That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. And there's no point in being upset about it because what am I going to do? Cry,
Hmm.
complain, be angry constantly? Like,
Hmm.
that's not going to get me anywhere. That's not going to resolve the problem. It's not going to resolve the issue. So it's
Yeah.
better for me to be logical about things as best as I can and just move
Hmm.
on.
Yeah.
So,
What about peer support? Let's talk about that. So, do you feel that there's enough peer support? I mean, obviously, like you said, you get through it and you move on, but there are others out there who's not in that same situation, and they
yeah.
might need some type of peer support. So, what do you feel about? Do you feel there's enough peer support out there, or what are your thoughts?
Honestly, not enough for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like it should be mandatory for everyone to receive peer support, even if you don't want it, you at least know it exists. Half
Yes.
the patients in Ontario, Canada, don't even know that it exists, that we have this option, that there are organizations out there, multiple organizations out there that provide support. And so I think just acknowledging that, hey, I met with someone, I know it's there. These are the resources they have for me to connect. These are the webinars they have. These are the people I can talk to, my peers. And then whenever they want it, they take it. And if they never want it, then they never take it. But they know it
Mm-hmm.
exists and they can pass it on word by mouth, mouth by word.
Word of mouth. Word of mouth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
word of mouth. That is there. And so I think that holds a huge weight when it comes to accepting and dealing. And because like when you're pissed off and you're angry and you hear and you're talking to a social worker or a nurse, for example, they don't get it. They don't get it. Unless they say something that I do, they don't. But when you talk to somebody who is saying, hey, I understand because, then you honestly like calm down. Like whenever I have provided peer support to my peers, I did it. I used to do it back at Sick Kids as well. When I grad before I graduated and when I graduated, and I talked to some young peers, where when I said, "Oh, hey, I get it," because, and where when I told them, I could hear the light bulb click in their brain. Their
Oh.
voice
Okay.
would change with me, and
Mhm.
they'd be like, "Oh,
Yeah, she
okay."
does get it. She is
Yeah,
me. She's been there. Yes.
exactly. And then they would
Hmm.
actually open up and I say, is this a good time to chat? Are you okay talking? Yeah, yeah, of course. Sorry. I didn't mean
Hmm.
it. And they're like, no, no, it's okay. I totally get it. And
As
so then
opposed to
they
someone
talk to
that's just
me.
coming in there just to check them off a list and move on to the next
Yeah.
person and check that. Yeah,
Who
I get it.
wasn't genuine to actually talk
Yes.
to you. Like that's the thing about peers in any health regard situation, because you understand and because you've been there emotionally, mentally, and physically,
Hmm.
you get it. And that other person can actually relate and see that, oh, they get it. They will be
Yes.
able to give me tips and tools. And we're not there to be like their savior or anything or like guide them in any way like that they can't do themselves. But we're
Hmm.
there just to provide that, hey, this happened to me. So if it happens to you, this is what you can do, what you could do, and always advise your medical team, right? Because peer
Hmm.
support is never about medical
Yeah.
advice. So that's just the thing. It's a totally different perspective than a healthcare professional than it is someone who has that lived experience. So I
Mhm.
really think it's important. Like I really, really think we have to have more of it, and that we need to connect to more of those bigger agencies that are well known for kidneys and can provide it like safely, meaningfully, and effectively. So yeah.
Excellent. That's beautiful. And I agree 100% because, like you said, there isn't enough support out there at all.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
do you feel about like someone, how would you encourage someone to advocate for themselves? So in this situation, you hear a lot of, medical jargon and you hear a lot of stuff that someone who's new to this transplant situation and waiting for a kidney, it's just going right over their head in one ear and out the next. And they feel that they have to do whatever the doctor says, right? So if someone has questions or someone don't understand what's going on, they're telling me to take these medications. I don't even know why I'm taking these medications. How do you explain to someone that they should stand up and advocate for themselves and just ask questions? Like, how would you encourage that? Because not everybody's like you and I, where we just say what's on our minds. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So I always tell people not to say sorry when they're asking questions, because we tend to do that to our medical professionals where we say, well, sorry, I have one more question. Sorry, I have another question. Why are you saying sorry? This is your time that's allotted to you. And if they're in a rush, that's not on you. Every medical professional gives a certain amount of time to a patient, but sometimes they don't give enough time.
Yes.
And if you have questions, you ask appropriately, like for the time that you have. And if you are done your time, even like asking, can I email you, or can I send in some questions for you, or finding resources that have a guide that has commonly asked questions, or again, connected to peer support, that'll kind of help in the intermedium. And even taking the time, like with the nurse practitioners, usually they have more time, not more, but they have
Mhm.
a bit more time rather than nephrologists themselves. Ask them. Ask your dietitian, ask your social worker. If they can find you the questions, then hey, that's your way of getting more support, because you're asking those in that medical area that can ask your direct questions. But again, we always have to be mindful. We don't want to take someone else's time either, who's also there with the same concern. But be that professional patient as well. Don't go in yelling and screaming or acting as if you're a know-it-all and you know everything. Like, be genuine to yourself. Like, if you are scared, let them know that, I am worried, and if you just answer these two questions for me, I would really appreciate it. And most likely they'll answer them, right? But like, if you're not going to be genuine with yourself, it's not going to come across to your renal professional, because they're going to think, oh, you got it.
Mhm.
And I know I've done that where I'm like, oh no, I'm good. But then I'm like, oh, God damn it. Like, what did I do? Because we always try to act like, we know everything
We
and that
know
we
exactly.
got it. But
Yeah.
then when reality hits, you're just like, oh, okay, maybe not.
Mm.
Um, but it's very up in the air with everybody,
Yeah.
in terms of how you're feeling, what you're going through, at what stage you're going through. And I think that's another thing, that kidney disease doesn't affect you at any age, at any gender, any ethnicity. It will get you when it wants. That's it,
Exactly.
plain and
Yeah.
simple. So
Yeah.
when I'm talking to an older patient who's, let's say, for example, in retirement stage, I'll tell them, like, hey, you lived a very happy, healthy life. And I get this is not a great way to spend retirement, which you thought you were going to travel and which you still can, or you thought you're going to hang out with the grandkids, which you still can, but this is not convenient. I understand that. But let's put some things in perspective. And then when I tell them what I went through and how when I started, there was a 3-year-old baby with a central line access to dialysis in his chest, you hear the light bulb. Oh,
Yeah.
really? And it makes them not feel so, and I'm not trying to make them not feel bad for themselves. I'm just trying to give them
Mhm.
perspective
Yes.
that, again, this will affect you at any point. It's just, it doesn't matter that it affected this child at that age and it affected you at this age. It sucks regardless. It's the
Yes.
main thing I'm trying to convey is that look at from someone else's shoes, that you at least had all this time to, do everything you want, most of what you wanted to do. Now let's see how we can do the rest of the things you want to do, but with dialysis,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Try to change that perspective a little bit. And it's like, anyone going like on a health craze or juice cleanse or is gluten free, for example, it's not something they wanted, but now they have to live with it and continue living their life around it. Obviously, kidney disease is a lot more than that, but in a perspective kind of way, we don't want to do it, but we have to do it. Another
Yes.
analogy I use for patients is it's like going to the gym. We have to go at least 3 times a week, especially with dialysis, that we don't want to do it, but we know we have to. When we get there, we feel a bit better that we're there at least. when we start our treatment, we start our routine, gym routine, we still hate it, but we're starting to feel slowly better. And then by the time we're done, we're exhausted, but we know we're going to feel better the next day, and we're going to be proud of ourselves that we went and did it the next day. And when I use that analogy with patients, they're all like, oh yeah, that's true. I'm like, right. It's the mind frame. It's the way you think about things and the way you accept
Mhm.
things. It makes a huge difference. And if you
Yes.
constantly think negative ways and negative feelings and negative, it's going to be bad up here in the brain. It's going to be bad in here for your heart. So you're
Yep.
just going to treat everything in a negative perspective. And like, why do that to yourself?
Hmm.
Like, you don't want to be that grumpy person on dialysis. You want to be that person that's talking to people, that's in supporting and making connections, and or just sitting there with your headphones on. That's totally fine too. But you're not there mad. You're not there being pissed off.
Yeah.
It's the main thing.
That's actually good. I like that analogy. I love that analogy. I wish I knew that analogy from before, because there are times just like, oh my gosh, like, I get
Yeah.
that. I get that.
Yeah.
Now,
It's
speaking
only
of,
because I hate going to the gym.
yeah, of course. Speaking of perspective, your situation. Let's talk about your perspective on your situation, your reality. Are you still hopeful? Are you, more real? Like, let me know how you feel about your situation.
Yeah, it's pretty crappy, I'm gonna say, to say the least. Not happy about it, but again, like, what am I going to do? And I'm not going to be pissed off on things I can't control or things that I wish I could have controlled, but it is what it is. And yeah, having to wait for a third transplant isn't easy. Um, but
Are you still hopeful?
yeah, everyone keeps telling me to be hopeful. Everyone keeps
Hmm.
telling me to have hope. And I get it, I do. But I'm more of a realistic person as well, especially with myself. With other people, I say the same thing. So I'm kind of a hypocrite with that. I tell people, we have hope. But with myself, I'm just more critical because I've never had it easy, I feel, with the kidney journey. Like, I don't think I ever have. Yeah, I was blessed to have two transplants, but then they also altogether combined only lasted 5.5 years. So I never
Mm.
actually got to live while I was on dialysis. I always had complications. I'm the only one in the family still who still has this, which is great. I'm not going to take that away. I'd rather be the only one. But, and I've never had anyone offer me to be a living donor. Seriously, like through family, through friends. So I think for me, it's kind of bittersweet that I
Mm.
have hope only because people are telling me to have hope. But inside, I don't know. Like, even though I've been advocating for the past couple of years about finding a kidney, like even talking to nurses, like or random strangers, it's like, oh, okay, and then that's it. Nothing
Mm.
like, oh, okay, let me see if I can get tested. Let me see if I can help you or find someone for you. No one's ever said anything like that. No one's ever offered to say anything like that. People actually
Mhm.
joke, oh, I'll give you my kidney, haha. And I'm like, that's not a joking
No.
manner. So I think that's where kind of my hope kind of wavers a little bit, that I don't know if I'll ever get a living donor because, and again, people who do are very, very blessed, but not everyone's blessed like that.
Mm.
And maybe that's just what's written for me in the stars. And I'm just supposed to live my life the way it is now, which honestly sucks. But I'm trying to make it work. I'm trying to be positive, but it's really, really hard when you've been
Mhm.
living like this for 25 plus years. So yeah,
Yeah.
to be honest. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're honest. And I heard when we first met and I heard your story, I'm like, you know what? I got to get her on here. I got to do my part. You know what I mean? I got to put you on here and have you share your story. And although, it's not guaranteed,
Yeah.
right? But we're trying something. You know what I mean? Just it might get across someone might see it, they might share it with somebody else. It's you know what I mean? It's something. Do
Yeah.
you
And I
have,
appreciate that.
of course, of course.
Yeah.
Don't even need to thank me. I had to. Social media. Do you have like a social media page that, someone can go to get information to donate? How would they go about donating?
Yeah, I do. So my friends actually created me a Facebook page because I was very reluctant to do anything like that, only because I was very scared to like even share my story
Mm.
of what I was going through. Because again, in the back of my head, I was actually no, I was never embarrassed by it. I was never like that. It's just I was just scared that I would never have anyone seriously offer. And I think that's still the same notion that I have now, that I'm
Hmm.
just worried about that. So my friends, after me reluctantly agreeing, did create me a Facebook page. I'm just see if I can find it. Sorry, to remember what it's called.
No, it's okay.
It's been a while since I've been on it, but no, they created me a Facebook page, and um, it's actually just talk more about who I am as a person,
Hmm.
and that's mainly it. It's not it's talk a little bit about my dialysis life and like what I do and stuff like that, but it's
Hmm.
mainly to discuss you know, where I am at in my kidney journey and how I'm doing the things I still love to do, like spending time with my nephews, doing my art, um, those eating, those things, and like what I'm doing to still thrive versus just surviving.
Hmm.
So it's called, so my friend thought of this, one of the friends, Eat, Sleep, Dialysis, Repeat.
Repeat.
So that's what I
Eat,
do. I
sleep,
eat, sleep,
dialysis,
dialysis.
repeat. Love it. Love it.
So obviously there's always in between stuff too, but
Yes.
like that's the gist of it. And yeah, so like it just again talks about what I'm doing, what my life is at. And it is managed right now currently by me. It
Mhm.
was by one of my friends, but they passed it on to me to kind of take the reins, which I totally accept, since it is about me. And yeah, I appreciate them like kicking me in the butt to get that going. So let's see how it works. I did send it to a few Facebook friends and stuff, but it's been shared like a few times, but it hasn't gained that traction that I wish it would,
Mhm.
to kind of like have people contact me and be like, hey, let's get the process started. So that hasn't happened, but I'm hoping, there's that word hope again,
Mhm.
that it could happen. But again, we go with the flow.
We will put that up on here as well. We'll have that posted up there as well so people can see it and reach out through the page. And if they want to consider, if they want to donate or what have you, they can find that information on there as well. Because, like you said, you have to have hope, right? So,
Yeah.
in order to continue, you need to have hope. You have to have a good support system, someone to talk to, someone to vent to, all that good stuff. So, I am hopeful for you, and I feel that this could be a very positive outcome. I just think that nothing happens before it's time. And I know for someone that's in your position, because I was there too, it's hard. It's extremely hard. Listen, I was there doubled over, vomiting. My food wasn't staying down, sitting there in dialysis, feeling nauseous. They got to drug me up so I could just get knocked out because when I was awake, it wasn't fun. They had to slow down the speed. I get it,
Yeah.
100%. I've been there, but I was hopeful, and I am hopeful for you, and I'm feeling positive. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm just feeling quite positive. So.
Appreciate that.
Of course. This is the time where I share a nugget of knowledge. And basically, I scour the internet for a quote that jumps out at me that, for me, feels describes you and your situation. Today, the quote is from Toby Mack. And the quote says, courage doesn't mean you get afraid. Sorry, let's start again. Courage doesn't mean you don't get afraid. Courage means you don't let fear stop you. And then I saw that quote and I thought of you because you're still going, you're still doing, you're taking care of people, you're handling your business, you're all over the place and you do it gracefully. You don't look like it's bringing you down. I know it's hard and I know it does, but you keep pushing through, you keep persevering, you keep going regardless of what life throws at you. And when I saw that quote, I thought of you and I said, you know what? This is Sadia. So I'm going to bring this to the show. I'm going to present her with this quote. And hopefully, the next time we speak, we're going to be having a completely different conversation about the transplant and how well it's going and how you get to do. Let me ask you that. What is it that you want to do once you get this transplant? What's the thing that's on that list that makes you feel like, you know what? I cannot wait to do this.
Not cannulate anymore.
Yes.
So what I mean by that is not putting needles in my arm for dialysis anymore, for
Mm.
access, because that gets very tiring. So
Especially if
that
you got crappy veins.
my
Right?
veins are bad, but I've had my fistula for over like 20, 15 years, so it's getting kind of old.
Yeah.
And I don't want another fistula, so I don't want to have to worry about a central line either. So if that can happen before any of that stuff, that would be great.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Anywhere you want to go?
I actually would love to go visit back home. Back home is where my parents were born in Pakistan. So I would love to go and visit there where they were born and stuff. And like I last time I went was in 96, and it
Mm,
was a little bit right before I got sick. And so I haven't been back since. So I would love to go there, see, my cousins there, my aunts and uncles that are still there, and just go shopping.
yes.
South Asian clothes are the best. I'm sorry. Any cultural clothes are the best in any
Hmm.
culture you live in. And so I think that's why for me, genuinely, like I love my cultural clothes and I would love to go shopping and just eat the food and not stress that, oh, I have to do dialysis and
Yeah.
have to worry about that. Like, and again,
Mhm.
travel with dialysis, that's not a problem, but I don't want to have to worry about that.
Not at
So
all. I get it.
not again, like
I get
not.
it.
So that's where I would actually go to that and then Hawaii.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
See?
I've been during my second transplant when I had a 6 month stable period, and so I actually got to go. Um, and it was beautiful.
Mm.
So I would love to go again and just like not stress again about, rejection and stuff and just go with smooth sailing and that'd be nice.
Well, now we've just put it out into the universe. So now we wait,
Yeah.
right? Exactly. Exactly. Sadia, thank you very much for spending this time with me. I wish you all the best, and we will definitely, like I said, keep in touch and we will do a follow up because this is going to happen.
Yes. Yeah, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much. You're awesome.
Of course, of course. Thank you for joining us on the Green Table Talk. Take care. Bye bye.